the Newsroom. I'm your host, Kora Siebert. From the Newsroom is a weekly news update brought to you by the Southeast Arrow. This week's top story is Carpe Diem, which is the university's annual cultural celebration showcasing the diversity represented on campus. Here are reporters Ben Schicker and Zach Huffman with more on the story.
We're here at Carpe Diem
To learn some things, try some food.
and have some fun. Let's do it.
What is your favorite thing about India?
Diversity, there are many states. Like if you travel from one state to another, language changes, like the food change, and that culture attire changes, like everything, even people lifestyle changes. It's like a mini Europe. Like how there is a difference between country to country. In India, it will be difference. There will be difference in state to state. That's the thing I like about India.
Everything about Mexico, and I'm not just saying that because that's like one of my three nationalities, but that's the one where like my parents are from, so that's more, I have more Mexican heritage than like Brazilian and US. I'm a triple citizen, I'm trilingual, but Mexico is where I feel like my soul is alive, and it's just like the sun. Mexico is literally like the sun giving you a warm hug. And that's actually the song that I'm gonna be dancing to today. It's called Mexico en la piel, which is a very well-known song that we have, and it's Mexico on your skin, and it talks about how it literally is like the sun hugging you. So yeah.
So what is it like being a citizen of 3 countries?
It's always hard when people ask you where you're from because you have to explain the whole story. But yeah, hablo espanhol perfeitamente bien, mas minha primeira língua foi o português, então a gente às vezes não entende. So what I just said is that in Spanish and in Portuguese is that my first language was Portuguese and Spanish, and sometimes people don't understand what that's like, so I don't know if I can really explain it to you.
While many students share their unique traditions through performance and cuisine, Carpe Diem also represents the urge to make the most of present time. One way that students can make the most of their time in college is by finding ways to limit academic stress. Here's reporter Zach Huffman with more on the story.
Student stress is a significant problem. Today we're going to go around and ask some students what their most stressful moment was and how they overcame that. So, Ramon, have you ever been stressed out in school?
Well, let me tell you, my major, music education, it's stressful in the sense that it's a lot of credit hours. And I know a lot of majors are also a lot of credit hours, but it's the amount of, you need to learn this by this deadline and be able to teach this by this other deadline. But really, in the sense of it, it's a lot of fun because you're getting to do what you love and getting a lot of experience with other people, even though, like for me, I went to teach a band camp over the summer for my high school, and I'm probably not going to get paid for it, but it's the experience that matters, in my opinion. And it's stressful because you got to think about stuff that you haven't necessarily done yet or done in your schooling, but it's a lot of fun, and that's all that matters to me.
Can you tell me the most stressed out you've been?
So I'd have to say switching from special education to music ed was very stressful. Not only having to do a lot of catch up because right now I'm technically in a freshman standpoint where my looping for my degree works is not necessarily in line, so I have to take a few classes over the summer to get caught up. And that's really just what's stressing, cramming a 5-year degree into a 4-year degree.
I'm a first-gen student, so I have to work on top of being a full-time student, and I also am a graphic design major, so I take on some outside business opportunities on top of schoolwork. So recently I've been doing some political rebranding for some congressmen and some, what are they called? State representatives. I've also done small business rebrandings where I create logos and give business cards and whatnot.
And what does it mean to be a first-gen student?
Nobody else in my family has gone to college. I'm the first one.
Oh, wow. And what is the most stressed you have been in your educational journey?
Probably last year. I was having like car trouble on top of school and everything, and I broke out in hives, stress hives everywhere, all over my arms and legs. That was probably the most stressed I've ever been.
Heavy course loads, car problems, breaking out in hives, and having to work, that's all extremely stressful. But its students have found ways to get past that. Let's hear what they have to say.
The biggest thing that's helped me personally is just planning everything out. Now, for me personally, before this major, I was not a person that planned things out. But whenever I started doing it, it has definitely helped me get through the stressful times, and just sticking to that schedule has really helped too. Stick to it and do your best at it. The worst thing that can happen is you fail, and if you fail, failing is really your best teacher. It helps you get through what's wrong and figure out what you did wrong, how you can fix it, and how you can move on from it. That's really the motto that I stand by as a music major, especially as a teacher. There's always going to be failure, and that's okay. You got to be okay with it.
I have a really good support system. All my friends and just like the faculty on this campus are really supportive and really understanding. Don't sweat it. Everybody, like your teachers understand. You got good friends, you got a good support system, and you got backup. Just talk to your teachers. They're human too, like they know what you're going through. They've all been through it.
Now this is how to relieve stress. Back to you, Kora.
One way for students to get away from the everyday stress of academics is through comedy. One of the biggest SEMO alumni, Cedric the Entertainer, announced that he would be doing a fundraising show on March 23rd to benefit the Mass Communications Department and his former fraternity. This past week, he took time out of his busy schedule to answer questions from local media in Cape Girardeau. Here's Ben Schicker with more on the story.
My name's Ben Schicker, and we are at the Rust Media Center for the Q&A with the big man, Cedric the Entertainer. Let's do this thing.
Man, I would think so. I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like some things are, like your manifestation for sure. But I do think that, with the ability to go viral, the ability to do things, I would have hoped that, I would probably be far more advanced in that area. I come from, a generation where I always kind of joke about this, where even the word like follow me, those things didn't make sense to us. Like, I wouldn't tell nobody to follow me nowhere. This is the idea that, if I come up in that generation, I feel like, especially with the kind of creative energy that I had, the things that I would want to do back when I was in college, if I had some of the resources that we have today, I would like to think that, those things would have advanced me a lot further.
Yes, as a fellow mass comm student, there's a lot of self-promotion involved. What advice would you give to students who are having trouble maybe promoting themselves?
I mean, again, I think the idea is to get involved with the things that you love, the things that you really want to do. And if you love doing it, then you should be able to speak about that to anybody that wants to hear it. And you should be motivated by that. And so, the idea of self-promotion really comes from saying, hey, man, this is the walk that I walk and the talk that I talk, and I'm not really necessarily here bragging or even trying to be super braggadocious about myself. I'm here about what it is that I love to do, and what I'm speaking of is that. And hopefully that'll motivate you to, bring light to yourself, because it's that. It's always going to be the work. The person will start to get shine, but people know you by the things that you've done. And those things that you've done, those are the things that'll, continue to kind of live long. And then your name will follow that. Your good name, your credits, all these things kind of follow what it is that you've accomplished.
That's all for today. Join us next week for a new installment of From the Newsroom. I'm your host, Kora Siebert, and until next time, take it easy, Cape Girardeau.